The Assembly's Legal Affairs Committee has just discussed the implementation of our resolution on Daphne Caruana Galicia's assassination and the rule of law in Malta. As rapporteur, I've continued to follow the situation since the resolution was adopted 18 months ago. My job has been to encourage the Maltese authorities to act on the Assembly's recommendation and report to our committee on its progress. I feel a strong personal commitment to the issue, especially the call for justice for Daphne. We must not forget just how shocking Daphne's murder was. A journalist, blown to pieces, outside her family home, on this sunny little island, a place for summer holidays, and a member state of both the Council of Europe and the European Union. The Assembly's resolution covered not only Daphne's murder, but also the corruption allegations on which she had reported, as well as the weaknesses in Malta's rule of law that allowed impunity for corruption. The rule of law situation has also been followed closely by the Council of Europe's Venice Commission. These are independent experts who advise on legal issues in the member states. The Venice Commission first made recommendations on Malta's rule of law in December 2018. The Assembly called on Malta to implement these recommendations. Since then, the Venice Commission has adopted 2 more opinions on Malta. The Venice Commission recognizes that progress has been made, as I do. But the Venice Commission also says quite clearly that Malta's reform process has been flawed and has been incomplete. So, from the Assembly's point of view, implementation is unsatisfactory. The rule of law situation in Malta remains deficient, especially when it comes to fighting corruption. As to the corruption scandals that arose when Mr. Muscat was Prime Minister, none, I repeat, none of these have been resolved. On top of the reporting by Daphne and other journalists, there are also reports from Malta's anti-money laundering authority and from public oversight authorities. Some of these reports led to magisterial inquiries. But after 3.5 years, most of these inquiries are still ongoing. One of them was finished, but this just led to yet further investigations, this time by the police. None of these processes has produced concrete result. No one is ever charged, although a few people were recently arrested and then released. So when it comes to ending impunity for corruption, the Assembly's expectations have not been met. Implementation is entirely unsatisfactory. As for Daphne's murder, several people have now been arrested and charged. One of them is giving evidence against the alleged mastermind. This is of course welcome and proves the importance of international law enforcement cooperation. Europol and foreign police forces provided technical assistance and a certain amount of pressure, which led to a number of major breakthroughs. But now the cases are bogged down in Malta's archaic, confusing and terribly slow criminal justice system. The alleged mastermind, who was arrested apparently fleeing from Malta, may be released from pre-trial detention before he can even be indicted. The allegations that the conspiracy went much further, even up to the then Prime Minister Muscat's own office, do not seem to be thoroughly investigated. And the authorities continue to refuse to cooperate with foreign police forces on international aspects of these cases. So when it comes to justice for Daphne, so far there is none. At this moment in time, as my current mandate comes to an end, the situation in Malta is still worrying. International attention has certainly encouraged progress, but there is still much more to be done. I hope that these results will come. What I can say for now is that for so far, they have not. Even more important than international attention, however, is the process in Malta itself. The independent public inquiry into Daphne's murder, impunity for high-level criminality and threats against journalists is doing an excellent job. Unfortunately, it has been attacked by current politicians, including Prime Minister Abela and former politicians, including former Prime Minister Muscat. On the other hand, this may reflect how successful this inquiry has been. Mr. Muscat in particular must feel extremely uncomfortable about the revelations of incompetence and corruption during his time in power. On the other hand, it shows a lack of appreciation for the inquiry as a healing process for the social and political wounds of recent years. And this process should continue as long as the Board of Inquiry feels it should continue. It should not be stopped by the government, and that is the position of the Committee on Legal Affairs. This healing will not happen until Maltese institutions reveal and acknowledge the truth. It cannot be imposed from outside, but we can help.